Hello, hello. Welcome to High Tea. Candle here is called an arc later. Pretty cool. Oh, all right. I want to welcome all you beautiful souls today. Welcome in. I got a few fun things to plan. A couple props. You guys seemed to like that last week when I brought in some things that I use as natural alternatives in my life. I wanted to bring some props in again today. Just show you guys some of the medicines I've been working with this week. I also got a fun little meditation plan for us, and I was going to bring you through 5 ways to really level yourself up, stay accountable to those goals that you have. Get your mindset right, start getting those action steps and those results done. All right. So, yeah, a lot of fun planned for today. I guess to start, let's just do a nice little meditation. I'm feeling that, today was so cold outside, and so I'm thinking about everyone who's out there, the families that are fighting for freedom right now and the freedom convoy, those who are just out in the cold, as well as, um, perhaps some of the homeless that are just out in the streets, no matter where you are. That's something to think about too. And I know when we're working with medicines, it can be easy to tune into that collective, right? If you start to feel the pain of everybody else. When you're fasting, you start feeling the hunger of everyone else in the world. And when you live in Canada and it's cold, it's it becomes one of those things where we just want to send love out there for anybody else who's feeling that, especially in a time when I get to be inside my house and I'm not out there. I was out earlier this morning, and I think that that's why I'm bringing this, have it fresh in my mind today. So how about we send out just a collective blessing for, ourselves, our friends, our families, our cities, our countries, the planet as a whole, and then to the universe, whatever else is out there. So let's start by, I'm going to roll my little spinny chair here back. Start, I guess, bring your hands to heart center. I like to stimulate some energy, the Reiki trick, and actually create heat in your hands. And we're going to use this to open up our hearts, warm any of those cold hearts. When you're ready and come into heart center, I'm going to hold my healing crystal here today. Perfect spot. Got this from a man in Ecuador. He's so sweet. Put it on my neck. Told me if ever I was stressed out, to bring it up onto my forehead and leave it there for 20 minutes. I tell you, I've barely taken this necklace off. Not very often do I have it off. That was 5 years ago or so. So very powerful, these healing crystals. Just to focus on your breath here. Don't have to edit it or change it. Just notice it. Is it a deep breath, a shallow breath, long or short? How are you feeling in your body? If there's tension anywhere, you can breathe into that. Use your breath to clear any blocks. Notice how each breath allows and purity, cleanliness, allows for a cleansing, a renewal. Every exhale releases that which no longer serves us. Sometimes our body wants to store and hold on to things that may be too much for us at the time. I've I want you guys to volunteer yourself now to get that out. Anything old and stagnant, free it now. Whatever way feels good to you. Once you feel more open, spacious inside of yourself, I want you to look deep within. I want you to send love, warmth, every cell in your body. With each breath, you activate each cell in your body. Give it the strength and ability to do what it needs to do. I want you to visualize one form of self-love that you can give to yourself today. Maybe it's a bath or reading a book or practicing yoga, nature walk, laughing with the kiddos. Whatever that is for you, just visualize yourself doing it. Feel how good it feels to have that done. And I want you to imagine that good feeling rippling out to your friends, your family. Imagine them feeling their best. Visualize your favorite memories with these people that you love. Feel those feelings. Visualize that rippling out even more, rippling out around your city, around your state or province, around your entire country. Every breath, this ripple, this wave moves further and further. It's around the entire world, affecting every creature, every plant and fungi, every cloud, going further, affecting the sun, the moon, the stars. I want you to think of one random act of kindness you can do today. What's one thing you can do today? Make somebody else smile or laugh or make their life easier. It's one thing you can do that in doing so would make someone else's day. when you have that thing, maybe a smile, maybe a donation, maybe quality time, no cell phones, no nothing, just pure love and making memories. If you have that one thing, I want you to feel how good it feels to have that accomplished, to have given that gift to someone. When you're ready, come back, dive in. All the great things I've got planned for us today. I feel like keep the candle in. So, to start, as I mentioned before, this is high tea. When I first started, I was doing the coffee thing on Sundays because that was my routine, the one day a week that I would drink coffee. The rest of the time, it's always tea. So I decided that I was going to change that up and start making coffee day Saturday if that's what I feel I want. Otherwise, again, I just go back to the teas. But I figured since we're calling this high tea, I may as well bring in all the different teas that are in my apothecary, different things that I drink that I really enjoy, and share with you how it is that I create some of my blends and things like that. So, because this is the opportunity to do so, what I've got here today is a honeybush tea, and it's mixed with ashwagandha root. So, both really great herbs, lots of medicinal benefits I'll get to in just a second. But I want to explain to you why it is that I make the mixes this way. I think one of the most important thing is that a lot of I can't help myself, it's in my hands. Really important thing here is that I don't like putting sugar or creams into my stuff very often. That said, like I like it. There's this almond like silk cream that they sell here in Canada. It's vegan. The ingredients are pretty good, but it's also kind of pricey. And if I drink a lot of it, I really do notice that either my weight or my mood will change, or I'll get phlegmy, like different things. So I do like to limit those things, even the vegan versions of it when they're store bought. Um, and also the sugars, right? Our culture today is like we'll drink four coffees on average, each one with an average of two sugars, which is not usually 9 grams of sugar in each teaspoon. So like 9 and 4, that's 36 grams of sugar. An adult should only be having 25 grams of sugar in a day. Kids normally get that 25 grams of sugar in their breakfast cereal. Like, this is a really big thing to consider here, and not to mention the creams and dairies that go on that are also very highly addictive, because that dairy milk that comes from cows, just like how us as women, we breastfeed our kids and the babies, they just want that milk, right? That's because there's addictive substance in it called casein. It's like a morphine, essentially. And that's what the cows do too, right? But cows are much bigger than us, and their babies are bigger than us. That means that casein that's in it is it's much stronger, more powerful, and also not always recognized the same way as with human milk. So, recognized by our bodies in the same way that human milk would be. So this becomes really addicting, especially when you turn it into an even more condensed version, cream, or an even more condensed version of that would be cheese. This is why a lot of vegans, the hardest thing for them to give up is the cheese. It's so addicting, right? And so And there's a lot of health concerns that come around dairy. Most people are lactose sensitive. They don't always realize because they've had it their whole lives. Many of you, likely do hear of this term and maybe recognize that you have a sensitivity or an intolerance on some level. But it's really important to see that, you can minimize these kinds of things. It's not healthy for an everyday. Someone who can't have this stuff at all, that sucks because I actually think it's a great treat. But, I go for the highest quality available, and I can do that on, even a frugal budget. I've done that before, to be able to find the high quality, but it means going for quality over quantity, right? And so it's the same with any of the dairy substitutes. As I said, you can still get phlegmy off of it. I noticed it in myself. I'm a very highly sensitive individual though, and I've been trained in all these things, so I know what to look for. Like, it's different for someone who doesn't have that kind of wisdom or connection with their body. If all of this health stuff's pretty new, maybe you don't realize it yet. Try an elimination diet. This will show you. Regardless, cutting your consumption of these things is going to be really beneficial. Nothing's meant to be taken the same every single day, right? This is why I switch up my herbal teas multiple times in a day. This is why I go times without coffee, um, without adding sugar into anything. It's nice to just experiment and see for yourself what works for you and what doesn't work for you. It's all right to push the boundaries and see what can I get away with, but you need to know where those boundaries are and then honor that in your own body as well. Okay, so, experimenting and pushing boundaries is okay temporarily, but if we're doing this our whole life, that's going to cut our lifespan. That's going to cut our quality of life. Even if you live a long time, the quality of life for most people is going downhill around 20, 30 years old because of the food-like products that are being sold to consumers. And so, let's go into, some of the positives here, some of the solutions that I found, some of the things that I'm doing that are working. In this tea, as I mentioned, I had put ashwagandha in it. So ashwagandha really helps to increase stamina and endurance. It can reduce anxiety and depression. It can combat stress. This is an adaptogen, right? So any kind of stress that's in the body, it could be stress from hormones, stress from the diet, stress from environment or from lifestyle, anything like this. It helps your body adapt, just like a pre-annual plant would adapt to the changing seasons. This is a really good type of medicine or kind of medicine to get in your body is these adaptogens. They're here to help us. So this can also help improve thyroid function. It has benefits on the brain health and cognition as well, just all together helping you feel better. And I believe the sun is coming in and I can't read the notes here. But it does also help increase your energy and boost your mood. So again, really good. And it's not necessarily that it's giving providing more energy. That energy is always there. It's that so often the energy gets taken by stress, by the stress because of the food that's in our diet that's not supposed to be there, by stress on the environmental toxins that are in our body that don't need to be there, and stress from our lifestyle. That could be work, that could be kids, that could be just being an overthinker or complex trauma or anything like this. It could be hormonal stress. So again, the energy is always there. It's just that all of those things rob the energy. This is why our primitive ancestors had so much more energy than us because they didn't have to rid their body of so many things. And when they did, they went to a shaman and was able to do that through things like Kambo and ayahuasca and other purgative type of, I guess, rituals. All right. The other one I mixed in here, and so here's the trick. Ashwagandha by itself may not taste that good. This is why I add in the honey bush. Sometimes, this would be a mint or something that's strong that doesn't need sugar. Honeybush is very, very faint, but it does taste like honey. So when I mix it with ashwagandha, it's like I get a little bit of a stronger taste, but I also get the taste of honey without there being any sugar or glucose into my system to add any additional stress. And honeybush tea also comes with a ton of benefits. It strengthens the immune system. It protects against inflammation, distress. It's rich in antioxidants. It accelerates the metabolism. It prevents cancer, protects the health and respiratory tract. It's great for stomach diseases. It apparently cures them, what I have here. It helps to cure menopausal problems for anyone going through menopause or premenopause, perimenopause. This would be really helpful in that. It's good for just relaxing your body and restoring it back to health, and it really supports all your body systems. I closed something down that I didn't mean to, so I'm going to bring that back up. Sorry, I apologize for my internet moving here. All right, so I'll take another sip here because, God, it is really good. Honeybush by itself, I always find it's really faint. Same with, there's another one, Robos. Again, has good benefits, but it's very, very faint. It's one I'll mix with other stronger herbs to bring in the sweetness. Tulsi is another one. You can mix St. John's wort, which is really bitter, and mix that with Tulsi tea, which I had last week, and I shared the benefits of it with you guys. It was another adaptogen, and it tastes amazing. It can kind of be strong on its own, but when you mix it with something stronger, it overpowers the strong bitters of St. John's wort, for example, and gives you this really nice taste. It's really cool. So I do have a few more here. Some of the medicines that I've been working with this week is microdosing. And as you guys know, I normally microdose, or I dose any time would be usually the new and full moon. That's when I work with psychedelics, the new and full moon. I wrote an entire guide on this that you guys can access on socialdelic.com. You can also visit it on my website, www.elementalgrowth.org. There you'll be able to find all of my guides. But here's the thing. I also, in the last couple years, so I've been working with mushrooms for 18 years now, or it'll be 18 years in the spring. So pretty long time, over a decade, been working with this like wonderful fungi medicine. And a lot of my experience has been with high doses, mainly the heroic dose, especially in the times I was getting sober, was the heroic dose. And it's only been, I guess, the last couple of years, 2, 3 years, mainly since coronavirus, that I really got into the fad of microdosing. And I don't think it's a fad that's going to go away anytime soon, because a lot of people are seeing major benefits with very little side effects. They're getting off of years of pharmaceutical medication. Many of the people that come to me to talk about these kinds of things have been on them since they were teenagers. It's absolutely insane to me, because that means that there's a lot of side effects that come along with that need to be healed. And it takes a long time to figure out who you are. If you go on a medication as a teenager and now you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, it's really hard to know who you are and why you're here, because your whole body, your whole mind's been numb and been building up these other side effects, and so I do think that microdose is here to stay. But for me, it's still been a pretty new thing. I know James Fadiman came out with the book. I heard Dr. Dan Engel talk about it, but Paul Stamets too. But I never got into it. I didn't see it. I was like, I just had Terence McKenna in my head saying, don't pussyfoot around, do your research and go for it, Um, there was another quote that he had that stuck with me around this microdosing. I think I was just so loyal to him and his teachings, until I realized, I really do want to experiment with this. His other, it doesn't matter, but you guys can go find Terrence McKenna. I'm sure as many of you might even know what I'm talking about. But I did want to experiment with myself for science, as Greg would say. And one thing that I realized is that I didn't like weighing it out. I didn't really believe in the capsule version of it. I didn't like the taste of like just chewing on one little piece. It's like if you're gonna go all in, you go all in. To just, chew on one little piece, like it didn't get me excited or anything, but what did was making this right here. This is called blue honey. As you can tell, it's not quite blue yet, but it does go blue within more time. You don't have to wait for it to go blue to use it. Normally, I just make it, jar it, and I use it as I go, uh, because it really doesn't need to infuse that long. I do like infusing it I'll leave it in the window so it gets infused by the sun, by the moon. I also, I don't measure any of it out. I do it all just by gut instinct. I did write the recipe out though. Again, you can find that in our guides. It's called Blue Honey and Other Magic Mushroom Potions for Health and Happiness, because there's tons of stuff you can do with honey. I gave a couple examples, things that you can do: make chocolate, mix it with sesame seeds, make one of those biscotti, sesame seed cookie things. Yeah, plenty of different things that you can do. This is just what I like. It's simple, it's easy for me. It gets me excited. The honey itself, we know that mushrooms are great for communicating, for connecting with the collective consciousness, right? When you mix that with honey, which honeybees are the communicators, they're the dancers, they're really hard workers. When you mix that with the bee energy, I just found that it's so much more potent, even though I take really small amounts. When I have done capsules in the past to actually see how it affects me, being on 50 milligrams, 100 milligrams, 150, 200 milligrams, 250 milligrams, all the microdose spectrum. I found I actually feel effects at 50 milligrams and 100 milligrams. And that shows me that, I don't have a tolerance for these things. I do believe that some people may out there, because I've heard stories, some people have told me straight up, look, I've become, resistant to this. For me, that just has not ever been the case. They affect me, uh, really on any dose. I'm connected to them. I don't know if that has something to do with the honey or my intentions, but it's definitely been my experience. And as I said, I'm pretty new to this microdosing journey. In the last 2 years, I wrote a few trip reports on this. Again, you can find it at elementalgrowth.org, or our YouTube channel too. A lot of them I've done spoken word on too. And I think the biggest thing around it that I've learned, other than I don't have a resistance to these things, I only need small doses, go with my intuition, set that proper intention. It's that I still find that when I'm called to work with the medicine, it's at really special times. So you'll notice from my trip reports that on times when I'm microdosing is when something really big's happening. Like when the first trip report I did was 10 days working with psilocybin mushrooms when coronavirus lockdowns first started. And I started out in the city and I ended up on a 300-acre property, completely off grid, sharing video footage with you guys of a permaculture garden I was doing. So really amazing shift happened there for me, 10 doses with these amazing mushrooms, and, my entire life, like Will Smith, life change, whole world turned upside down. So, I likely could have done that better. I apologize for my Fresh Prince of Bel-Air skit there, but yeah, I also I worked with these mushrooms when the 12 days of Christmas, that was a big one that I did. And even now with the trucker rally going on, I was called to work with them again. This is, I want to tap into the freedom fighters that are out there. And, I've been to some protests myself. My entire life is a protest. I've been protesting years before any of this stuff happened. Because there's so much work for me to do these days, I didn't feel I was needed in Ottawa or anything. So we did other protests that were close to home, and of course showing up accountable to you guys here. I'm sure you'd love to see some raw footage from there, but I've been doing my best to share what everybody else has, as long as it's not blocked, which seems to keep happening. I don't want to get into the drama of the censorship, uh, on this, but I do want to say that when I'm working with this medicine and the microdoses, it always seems to call on me when something big is happening in the collective, and it helps me through it. It helps me stay connected to the people as the big shifts are changing. I'm growing and changing with it. And so I really wanted to share why it is that this blue honey, I've been working with it this week as one of the medicines, and it's just been an amazing asset. I love it so much. I'm going to put it up here in the window so it can uh, do its thing. And I'll bring up the next one. The next one here is frankincense. These are called Frankincense Tears. I got them from All Natural Care Herbs. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm going to take them out so you can just see what they look like. So you can burn these as essential oils. You can also put them in your mouth and chew them, and it's like a gum. The taste at first is kind of like floral and bitter, but this is one of the ancient medicines. This is what the three wise men brought. These were the original alchemists, and what did they bring to Jesus? Whether you believe in religion or not, these are stories passed down for a reason, right? Like, I grew up Catholic, but I'm not Catholic. But I grew up with those stories, and parts of the stories still always made sense to me. And I see the three wise men as the three original alchemists. And what did they bring to Jesus? They brought frankincense, myrrh, and gold. This is a great introduction to alchemy. This is a great introduction to herbology. This is a great introduction to any kind of healing modality. And frankincense, it's one of those really amazing ones. And so the reason why we've been working with this, first of all, like chewing it is, it turns into a gum. I haven't ate gum in years, but it was kind of, I felt it was a nice stress reliever to like chew on something without consuming food. It's also got amazing benefits when it comes to boosting your immune system. It's anti-inflammatory. It reduces wrinkles. It's great for the respiratory system. It increases focus, releases and relieves aches and pains. It's good for cysts, for acne, for scars, for anxiety, depression. It's also a very spiritual and meditative way to work with herbs. Frankincense. These frankincense tears are really cool. So that was one of them. As I'm dropping. I'm sorry, my little frankincense. I'll get you back up in a safe place. Okay, and the last medicine here that I've been working with, this is called Babasana. And so I got a tincture of it here. I haven't taken it yet today, so I'm going to do that now. And what this does is actually enhance other psychedelics. And this is not psychedelic at all, though it's used on ayahuasca ceremonies. It's I guess recognized as being um, a kind of Kambo when it comes to the healing abilities and the plant spirit, very much like the Kambo spirit, only it doesn't have the same purgative effects. It doesn't taste as good as some of the other stuff that I've had, but it's not bad either. Like actually, like the aftertaste is fine. It's what I taste is the alcohol, and when I'm doing like, I stay away from alcohol tinctures because I'm, a recovering alcoholic, so I don't like it for that. But when I do my own tinctures, I do it with apple cider vinegar. I do it with honey being an amazing one. Honey and alcohol mixed together makes it easier too. And there's also glycerin that you can use for tinctures, but this one I bought. Well, actually, Tristan bought it. It's from the Jungle Medicine House, and it's called the Dream Extract. This says, like, worked with a lot of lucid dreaming type of medicines, lotus flower being a really good one. I really truly feel that aside of any of the plants, the best thing is just to practice that skill yourself. Like, work it like a muscle. The first time you're gonna fail. The second time you might fail, third, but you're going to eventually build up that muscle. You're going to start imagining things. You're going to be able to start taking power in your own dreams. You're going to be able to start remembering your own dreams. Once you make dream work actually important to you, it's going to become a lot more clear to you. And that's what lucid is, right? It's that clarity. So some other benefits here is that it's anti-inflammatory. It's great for arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis specifically. It's anti-cancer. It's good for anti-rheumatic. It's a stimulant, a diuretic, meaning it helps you pee and get things out in that way through the urinary tract. It's a contraceptive as well, so this can work as a type of birth control. So, yeah, you obviously do your research on this if you're trying to get pregnant or anything. But for, that's not something that I'm really care about, nor do I do the birth control thing either. So it's not going to affect me in any way. These are things you're going to want to look out for. Also, like in the spiritual and emotional body, it's really good and known for calming, for relaxation, for flexible thinking and feeling, for really opening up that heart space. Like this is a heart opening. That's why it comes in close with Kambo too, right? This is why it helps with arthritis, is because it gets really into those core wounds and helps you be open and stay open, like that proverb, right? God will break your heart open over and over and over again until you can keep it open. And this has been my experience with Kambo, and this is a very similar experience that I'm getting from this tincture as well. It does, I find, hit almost instantly. The first time I felt warm through my whole body, very similar to when I worked with Kambo. At any time I've worked with Kambo, actually, it's like I feel the warmth go through my whole body, and so that's another thing that does come up here. So where are we for time? All right, we got a few minutes here. I'm going to take another sip. Okay. Now for our main teaching today is on the 5 levels to building positive habits. Now, for any of you who want this, I'm going to post the actual written version for you so you can actually dive into these things. What I'm going to do is take each of the headlines that I've written and just dive into it a little bit here for you. So when you're building positive habits, the number one step, or what we'll say is level, right? I'm calling these the levels. The number one is to just decide. Decide what it is that you want and be that decisive person. I know as a Libra, I see both sides to every story. My horoscope is known to be indecisive. This definitely was not easy for me, but after I started realizing the positive reinforcement that comes from just making a decision, the positive reinforcement that comes in the form of growth, expansion, momentum, success, you know, all that comes from making a decision. If you're not making a decision, chances are you're not doing anything. Chances are if you do make a decision, it'll be out of fear instead of purpose. So why not make the decision, own up right away, and do this out of purpose? Right. So first one, making a decision. So one thing that I'd recommend you guys do is like, what are all these things that are coming up in your life? What are all your biggest complaints? Where can you draw the line? The things that you don't want to be doing, where can you decide to delete them or to delegate them or to learn to love them? Where in your life or in your complaints can you decide to just let go or to make something work for you in a new way? What is, something you're indecisive about where you've written a pro and con list on each side? I always like to say when making a decision, make it from purpose, not fear. But regardless, you have to make a decision. Sometimes you will make them out of fear. That's part of the journey, and sometimes you'll make it out of fear and you'll succeed. And sometimes you'll make it out of fear and you'll fail. And sometimes you'll make it out of purpose and you'll fail too. And, the truth is, the only thing that matters is that you're moving. You can fail over and over and over again. It's nothing to be scared of. It's like steps. Okay, as long as you keep moving up the steps, it doesn't matter how many times you fall because you're still falling up. You're falling forward. If you fall at a finish line, you can still reach your arms out and reach that finish line. It's because of the momentum that's built and you're falling forward. It's not like you're falling and going backwards. That only happens when you're not making a decision, that you fall and you slip into old patterns, old ruts. So let's move beyond that in level 1 and just decide. Decide what you want. Decide what habits are positive that you're doing now that you can really enhance, and what habits you have that are negative that really aren't serving you, and decide to cut them off. Level 2 is connect and track. So I'm going to read this one out here. Dust and sun. So being disconnected is the source of almost all human problems, such as this is also what's called mental illness, drug addiction, violence, crime, failing at school, and abuse. This is just to mention a few. Dr. Glasser suggests that almost all human behavior is chosen to satisfy the 5 basic needs for survival: love and belonging, power, freedom, and fun. These 5 basic needs are written into our genetic structure, and from birth to death, they drive all of our behaviors. Because our genes do not provide us with the behaviors to meet these needs, as infants, we start learning how to behave in order to get our needs met. If you had an upbringing like mine, things may get confusing because maybe some needs were never met until those teen years when having sex and getting wasted provided a band-aid solution to love and comfort. But it is our job, and it's hard to make this your job as a teenager. I get it. My awakening, I was 25. So, I had made it through all those teen years. And I thought I was mature for that age because I moved out at 14. But if you think about from 14 till 25, that's big gap of time that it took for me to understand this one simple step. Many of you guys, if you're a teenager joining this right now, you're going to get there so much faster. If you're in your 20s right now and you're just at this point, like perfect, you're going to get there a lot faster than me. And if you're, just waking up and you're 30 or 40 or 50 or 60, it doesn't matter. Like what matters is that you're going to get there now, and you're going to get there in less time, because you have so much more wisdom, you have so many more experiences, and because you want this more. You want this more because you've seen the hell, and you want better for yourself. And it's a wonderful thing. So there's no comparing in this. I did want to leave that example so you guys can relate. So it's our job to continue learning and refining healthy ways to fill these needs for the rest of our life. To better enable us to learn, we are provided with the ability to feel both pleasure and pain. Anything we do that feels good feels that way because it's satisfying to one or more of our basic needs, and anything we do that feels bad incompletely satisfies our needs. So to connect and track it in your own life, you could list out 3 columns. One would be your 5 basic needs of survival, which again, I'm going to share this document with you so you have it. But for anybody who's just taking notes here on the call, our 5 basic needs for survival are love and belonging, power, freedom, and fun. Okay, so these are what I want you to write out in the first column, the 5 basic needs. Love, belonging, power, freedom, fun, plus whatever else you like of your own. Maybe it's coffee, maybe it's whatever it is that you are addicted to. You can use your addiction to benefit you at first before releasing it. If this is a really bad addiction and it needs to go now, then don't put it in there. Instead, we'll save that for in a little bit. And then in the second column, I want you to write down your negative habits, right? This is what you want to eliminate. This would be those negative habits. If coffee is giving you heart issues, write that down. If gaming's making you waste your life and live in fantasy world, write that down. If it's alcohol, if it's cigarettes, if it's porn and sex and all those kinds of things too, write that down as the negatives. And this can get confusing. This is such a bio-individual process, right? Because in the third column, we're going to write the positive habits that we want to cultivate. And that's going to be very specific to you, what it is that you want. Do you want to meditate? Do you want to lucid dream? Do you want to eat healthy? Do you want to take time away from your phone and spend quality time with your kids, and just unsure what that looks like because you've all been attached to screens for so long. And we call this the data track sheet, where you can track your progress. One of my coaches, he would consider this all data, no drama. That's what Xander's really into. And I like that too, because when you're tracking the data, the drama doesn't matter. And then you're not focused on the drama parts about it anymore. You're not focused on the victim mindset, anything like that. That's really never served you. Okay, so here we go. So level 3, this is rewarding yourself, right? So for some of you, you may want that reward to be coffee. You may want it to be cannabis. You may want it to be an orgasm. You may want it to be something, whatever it is that is to you, self-care. Go for a sauna, or eat some chocolate, do a cacao ceremony, do a dosing ceremony. It's important to reward yourself as soon as you hit your milestone, because by rewarding yourself in the moment, your brain will produce positive emotions linking you to that, and this will help you keep that momentum going. This is your positive reinforcement that just about everybody who comes to me, they've got a negative reinforcement their whole life. So now it's time to start giving themselves positive reinforcement. And I'm talking to you. All right. So rewarding yourself, again, you want to make sure that you're getting these things in so you have structure to your life, right? That's what this is all about. It's actionable steps to bring structure into your life. Number four, or level four, sorry, is staying accountable. So in my guidebook, Be the Change, Your Guide to Elemental Growth, of course, I help you guys, do the self-guided version of accountability using the moon cycles and the seasons to hold you accountable, the alignment to nature being where it is that you find your accountability, because that's what I had to do in my life. I was very isolated. I grew up in the country most of my life. I'm very sociable. I always have friends, but I always isolated myself. And I like both. Sometimes it's like I just want community, and sometimes I just really want to be alone. And when I was healing myself, healing my addictions, I wanted to be alone. So I found my accountability partner not in another person, but in Mama Nature, and with the mushrooms too. And so I wrote that in my book, Be the Change. So if you guys are in that spot where you're going this alone, go and get that book. If you can't afford it, reach out to me. I'll get you what you need. Okay. So you can reach out to me if you're in the Signal group. Just text me. Otherwise, you can book a clarity call. It's just like 10-minute call on my website, elementalgrowth.org, and tell me what you're looking for and your story. And we'll dive in. I'll definitely point you in the right direction. What else have I got here? So staying accountable. Having an accountability partner is great though. I've had many in my life. I'm a very highly driven person, and I've driven away many. Just drive away from them, or drive away, drive them away. I don't know how that's worked. I've always found benefit in it when it's working, and then when it's not working, it's okay to release. I always stayed friends with the people that were my accountability partners. It's just that we weren't the best fit for accountability anymore, and then I'd move on to something else, or and find somebody else that could hold me accountable to that next goal. So again, it's okay to change, and don't find an accountability partner in your BFF, because they may take it personally, or in your partner in your relationship. They may take it may not take it as easily as like a stranger that is trying to hit a financial goal, or a stranger that is trying to get sober, or a stranger that's trying to quit smoking. If you find accountability partner and a stranger that's trying to do the same thing, you're going to get a lot further than if you go to your best friend. Because they're not going to hold you accountable in the same way, and they'll take it personally if you move on to something else without them. So I always either went it by myself, or I found in strangers. That being said, Tristan and we were strangers once upon a time, and we did do accountability partnership together. When we do it now, it's mainly for like specific like timeline things and our schedules and making sure things get done. It's not the same accountability as before. So again, like you can do this with friends and and family too, but it would be different things, right? Like if you have a schedule, just ask, and you'll know if it's the right person, because they'll actually hold you accountable. They'll actually check in and say, did you do that thing? Hey, that thing that you said you were going to do, how did that go? Sometimes my friends just message me and they're like, hey, I got this wonderful idea. And then I just ask them questions about it. And next thing you know, they're actually doing what was just an idea has now turned into actual reality, just because of the accountability piece. Sometimes I say my big goals out loud on camera, or I write them out and share them in the Signal group, just for that accountability, because now that it's out there, now I have to follow through, because I don't want to be judged as, any of the same ways I judge myself. I want you guys to, to look look at some of the big things that I say and I put out there and be like, I want to do that, or I want to do that differently, or I want to do something like that, or I want to do, yeah, whatever. So the accountability piece, it's good there. I gave lots of information on here around that. Level 5 is to just embrace the failure, right? Like as I was saying about the steps, you always want to fail forward. It's okay if you fall. It's okay if you fail because you're falling forward. You're still closer to that goal than you were before. If you're not making a decision, if you're so scared of failure that you're not going to actually do anything, then you've already failed. But if you make the decision to do it and you know that failure is coming, or like that Mike Tyson thing where he says, a plan's all good until I punch you in the face. It's like nobody wants to be punched in the face by Mike Tyson, but he makes a good point about life, right? Is that right when you think you got it all together, life is going to test you. Life is going to punch you in the face and throw something at you that you didn't expect. That's to show you the faults in your plan. That's not to discourage you from going towards your dreams that are yours and yours alone. It's not to discourage you, it's to show you where you were weak so that you can build up those spaces. It's to show you that, you have to strengthen some other areas first, or that you need to practice a little bit more, or that you need to wait patiently and just practice those patience. It means maybe that some of your spokes in your wheel are out of balance, and that if you keep going, it's going to be a bumpy ride off the side of a cliff. So maybe fix some wheels and get in balance again, and then you can drive your way right up a bunch of stairs. I'm giving examples here, but I think you guys get what I'm saying, is that just embrace the failure. Okay, know that it's there, know that that's one of the steps. Know that the steps are kind of like crumbly and that chances are you'll fall a little bit, but that's okay. You've got, two arms to pull yourself back up. And if you got an accountability partner, you got four arms. If you got a mastermind, you got like, 10 arms, 20 arms. So you guys are doing good. You have all that you need here. I also, I wrote something here about just leveling up even more. It's been great to see so many people taking their health and lifestyle back into their own hands. This lockdown and health crisis has opened up the door for transformation. This is a time for you to make the difference, and it's going to take every single one of us to change the way that things are today. The world needs you to get your shit together. And, if you're ready, I'm here. I'm here to help however I can. So again, before I go here, I want to encourage you guys, reach out to me, elementalgrowth.org, or if you're in our Signal group, you can just text me, okay? I believe more than anything that what we need is just more people doing this type of work. So if I can help you get there faster and create your own ripple effect, that's what I'm here to do. All right, let's, free this trauma without the drama. Let's free the trauma without big pharma. Let's just free it and move on into those higher, bigger dreams. Reach that highest potential that is there, that you've seen, that you've experienced. All right, I love you all so much. I wish you the best this weekend. I wish you a beautiful week coming up. I want you guys to let me know what herbs or different medicines that I showed you here today that inspired you to try it out, I guess. And also what from this article here that I will be posting resonated the most. I'm going to get it out to you guys in the Signal group. For anybody who's on my email list or checking out the website, I may post it there as well. I haven't decided yet, but I do know that it's for sure going to be in Signal for anybody who's there, and depending on how that goes, I'll get it out in other forums too. All right. Love you all so much. Bye.